Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to join me. I really appreciate it. It's our fourth stream today, so let's just get right into it. We're going to talk about, as it would be, time travel. Link in the description below. I've been waiting around since legit 2:30 this morning, like in the morning, for Y-Files and AJ and Hecklefish to post their video, and they're talking about the Philadelphia experiment. And so I believe I am missing that premiere. I do think it's happening right now as we're making these videos. So that's unfortunate for me, but while they're uploading, I'll be able to watch it. So I'm looking forward to that, I suppose. Um, Time travel. You know, I'm a fan. First and foremost, I'm a fan. Always have been a fan of science fiction. If you didn't know this about me, now you know. I grew up reading A Stranger in a Strange Land, An Illustrated Man, The War of Two Worlds, or The War of Worlds, or H.G. Wells, Jules Verne, Robert Heinlein, Ray Bradbury. These are people that I have, read over and over for well over 30 years now. Holy potatoes! I am only 36, so there is that. But the thing is time travel has always been a constant, in any sort of science fiction novel or screenplay or adaptation. It's been a safe to say it's been a constant. And the Philadelphia experiment, which is kind of not what we're going to be talking about now, but another example of time travel, I think that's going to be interesting to watch and stuff. But I just, as an improvisational topic for us to talk about here on Vlogs About Nothing, obviously time travel is theoretically possible. I'm not an engineer or a mathematician, but it is relatively accepted throughout the scientific community that time travel is possible, at least, again, in theory. Um, I think that there are many instances that should make people think about time travel. There's the guy in the Mike Tyson fight. There's the woman, the babushka lady. There's the person in the Charlie Chaplin movie that's walking around the corner. There's a lot of interesting things about the supernatural and or paranormal, but I say this, and not so much as in that way as the selling of a pseudoscience, but more in fact of a empirical, scientifically accepted course of action that will allow time travel to happen, even if it's not the same way that we want it to happen. So hear me out. There is going to be a time in our history, in our modern history, where you will be able to augment your reality in an obvious digital 3D VR world and relive your memories. I think that, that's a kind of time travel. I mean, if your mind is the only thing that needs to think that it's in 1985, then hey, we have something for you, because that's a relatively sort of easy kind of a thing to do, but not so much like that it's going to happen. Think of like Total Recall, only even more individualized in that the access of your memories will in fact be available for your viewing consumption. Again, and even more than just a two-dimensional thought that is being processed in your brain, but moreover, an actual environment that you are the spectator of. And think more Charles Dickens' A Christmas Tale with the ghosts of all Christmas past, forward, and future, and their navigation of the character with whom is learning the lesson on how not to be such a Richard and be nicer to people. You know how it's you're there, you can feel, you can see, you can smell, but no one can see you. You know what I mean? But in the AR world, in the augmented reality world, you might just be able to interact with and I don't, why wouldn't you? I mean, again, so I think that time travel, not just in theory or hypothetically speaking in IRL is possible, but more practical and more over that something is going to happen sooner will be the access of memory, revision or memory visitation through VR and AR. This is something that will be available, and whether or not it's now, you start thinking about like Minority Report and stuff in terms of like literally being able to. There's legislation in the state of Colorado that was recently passed protecting people's thoughts. This is something we're going to get into, I think, tomorrow. We'll talk about it. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, your thoughts are at risk in terms of, the tech available and it being able to literally decode your brain signals into code that's translated into dialogue that is then, yeah, like reading your mind. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. Also, we live in a world where Havana syndrome is rampant, and as time goes by, we only hear more, in fact, about Havana syndrome and all of its negative implications that it causes to people with whom it is directed at. So, time travel. Whether it's the Philadelphia experiment, again, something we didn't even brush on at all. I don't know too much about it other than that I do believe the Navy at some point got into a big spaceship and it all of a sudden disappeared, only, to show up like later with the guys saying that they had been gone and they, or who knows, right? But Back to the Future, I've never seen the movie. That's another movie that deals with time travel. I remember just breaking down and crying. I think it was I was in a certain relationship, and this woman showed me a movie called A Time Traveler's Wife, and that was a really sad movie. I think it had Rachel Lee Cook in it, though, who's one of my favorite actresses. Not just because she's one of the most beautiful women in the world, she's also very talented as an actor. So, there it is, time travel. I'm gonna get back to my night. I'm gonna binge this episode of the Wi Files. Link in the description below again, and be something that we'll be doing together, I guess. But thanks so much again to all the views and all the new subs. I think one of the videos the other day, I know this sounds kind of cheesy or whatever, but it hit 100 views on a video that I didn't do any promoting for, like in terms of just, it was like this, and it was pretty cool. So I'm happy to see that people are giving me an opportunity to be a part of their lives, and in whatever small way that I am allowed to do that. I really appreciate it. Say it. At some point, I'm gonna hire some people. I say this a lot. I don't mean to repeat myself, but it's important stuff. It's the only important thing that I say, honestly. I mean, other than that, these are vlogs about nothing. So take what I say with a grain of salt, for sure. I'm just trying to bring a little light, humor, and just sort of complete sarcasm to a world that is otherwise dry, boring, and just so focused on rage bait. You feel me? That, like, I don't know, ew, if lack of better words, ew, you know what I mean? But I hope that you guys have a lovely night. If you're not already, take a couple minutes, consider subscribing. It helps out the channel a ton. And until next time, you guys have a good night, all right? Be safe out there. Bye.